Good evening and welcome to tonight's City of Burnside's Council meeting of the 14th of November, starting at 7 p.m. Welcome to those present here in the chamber and to those who are watching from home. Just before we start, could you please make sure that your phones are off or on silent so that we don't have them disturb the meeting. Please stand and remain silent for the acknowledgements. We acknowledge that the land we meet on today is the traditional land of the Kaurna people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Kaurna people as the original custodians of the Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still important to the Kaurna people today. We pay respect to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting and attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia. On behalf of the City of Burnside, I gratefully acknowledge and pay respect to all those who have sacrificed their lives for this country and its people. And I particularly think of the ending of World War I with the commemoration ceremonies on Saturday last for Remembrance Day. We also consider in our thoughts all those who today are being affected by war around the globe, and especially those in Ukraine and the Middle East. Finally, we seek guidance in our debate as we make decisions that will impact on the lives of all who reside, study, work in or visit the City of Burnside. Grant us wisdom as we serve our community. Please be seated. It's been 3 weeks. I just remind you about using your microphone and making sure you turn your microphone off as soon as you finish speaking. And be respectful of and patient and listen to each speaker without disturbing them or interrupting them during the debate. And the agenda is quite a long one, and there is one deputation. If you wish to withdraw an item, please indicate this quickly, otherwise I'll seek a mover and a seconder immediately. We have one absence this evening from Councillor Henschke. Is there anyone who has a declaration of interest that needs to be made? If not, then I will move on to confirmation of minutes. Could I have someone move? Councillor Zing. Councillor Cornish. And now you've gone. Okay, and Councillor Zing, you're seconding? All right, all those in favour? Against? Carried. We have no public question time questions, but we do have one deputation tonight from two gentlemen from in relation to Penfold Road traffic, item 13.1. And when we finish with this deputation, I'm going to suggest we move directly to that item, 13.1 on the agenda, and deal with that motion on notice first, unless there are any objections to that, and that means the gentleman could stay and then leave when that item is finished. I'll ask the question when we finish. So, deputies, if you'd like to come forward, please. And if you just introduce by your name and the suburb in which you live, you don't have to give your full address. And I've explained the procedure. Okay.
There we go. Thank you. Glenn Edwards is my name. I live in Stonyfell. As a way of starting, what we'd like to do is thank our local ward councillors, Jenny and Mike, who have been supporting us and in helping us investigate this issue that we've been working on for some time. And they've assisted us quite really well and helped us get to the position we're at today. So thank you to both of you. Jeff and I are long-term residents of Penfold Road. We're in the south of Stonyfell Road, which is the steep section, if you know it, which heads from Stonyfell Road up to Heatherbank. We're well used to perhaps not having the most quiet and pristine situation with the fact that we're very adjacent to the local quarry. And so the truck operations, the dust, the noise, the exhaust brakes happen on a regular basis, daily. And we've I guess, come to accept it. But what we want to talk to you about today is sort of a growing issue, which is the traffic situation on Penfold Road. And we believe this is increasing quite significantly, and what this is doing is leading to a reduction really in our amenity living on that road, our safety, and also, therefore, our sense of well-being living there. This road actually used to attract runners and walkers and cyclists up and down. It's quite steep. It's a good challenge, but we believe that that's sort of diminishing now. People have been looking for elsewhere to go because of the traffic that's, which is now approaching, or in fact has approached, is over 1,000 vehicles a day. Never used to be quite that many, and that includes a significant proportion of commercial vehicles. We believe there's a number of contributing factors that drivers are now using our road, Penfold Road and Heatherbank, as an alternative to the main road networks, which we would prefer they use, which is indeed, in fact, Hallett Road and Kensington Road. And the reason, one of the reasons for that is, apart from just the increase in volumes, you can notice significant peak period events on that road now, and they coincide with, you know, knock-off time, work start time, that sort of thing, school time, school drop-off, and it's not a good thing for people that would now have 1,000 vehicles a day on their road when it used to be something far less. The other contributing factor, and I guess I've got to, I identify council here, we believe that changing the Hallett Road's posted speed limit down to 50k has generated a requirement in drivers to think, oh, well, I'll go look for somewhere else to get through to where I go from A to B. And also, and I have read this, I'm not making this up, the advent of sat-navs is also giving people the advantage of what's the shortest route between A and B, and if they're looking at, you know, something that passes our direction, it becomes our road. We also have a disproportionate share of the Stonyfield traffic through our road. There aren't many exits out of Stonyfield Road, and to get to the shopping centre and other facilities, it's quite simple to sort of come up to the top and use Penfold Road to get out. So all these are contributing, we believe. And it's sort of shown up in driver behaviour in the area. Obviously, rat running, which is what I'm really referring to, is that's associated with speed. There's really quite obvious to sort of think that. And Penfold down to Stonyfield and then back up is a big dipper. You go down, you go up. It's a bit of fun, so you get drivers that think, oh, this will be good. I've had incidents of tailgating. I've had incidents of people straddling the median and people going the wrong way around the trees that are at the top. So that leads us to believe that there's significant safety issues that should be considered for this area of road. And I'd like to give Jeff a chance to just say a few words. 5 minutes isn't very long, I realise that. So.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I grew up in Burnside Council area and have been living in Penfold Road, Stonyfield since 2009. So I've noticed the change of traffic since the Borough put in a new entry-exit route for staff at the top of Penfold Road in Heatherbank Terrace.
Is council happy for us to extend that?
Right, great. So, and when the new speed limit was brought at 50 kilometres in Hallett Road, it's caused continuous traffic, which means people are slowed down and they're breaking out of that to come up through our area and also going back through the area to avoid. And it's very hard now to drive through Hallett Road easily because of the continuous traffic to slow down. I've also met with the owners of the three houses closest to the Penfold Road Stonyfield intersection, namely 143 Penfold Road, 41 Stonyfield Road and 43 Stonyfield Road. They've got the same concern about the traffic, the speed of vehicles and safety issues. They're also very concerned about the speed and braking noises of trucks turning at that intersection. For the residents of 41 and 43 Stonyfield in particular, the showering of dust and small stones as trucks pass into and out of Penfold Road means they've got to keep their front doors and windows closed every working day because of the dust, noise and safety issues. So we're really looking for the council support to have traffic road engineers investigate potential traffic control measures to slow the volume and the speed along the South Road. And this intersection, it could be helpful to have something like relocating the central verge of Stonyfield Road on the eastern side of Penfold Road, towards the quarry side, to enable easier turning of trucks. It's interesting to see the damage being done to the sides of the road. So that could be done. A roundabout, slightly off-centre, could be done. The trucks have got to be able to turn easily and salient and don't have the need to brake so easy. So something could be done there. There could be different servicings on that intersection to have a visual aid to stop, not just a sign, but actually change of road material. Could be colouring, as in a few places, or other measures. So we're not road engineer experts, but we think they should be able to come up with a solution. So they're the core things of 5 households in that immediate area that we witness this issue every day. Boral's a very important ratepayer, and they were there before we. But we've got to make it easy for them. And I believe that they are trying to do their best to accommodate a lot of it. They're spraying the water continuously on the road. So I think they're behaving as good corporate citizens. I believe, Glenn may not totally agree with me, but I believe that. But we have a safety and noise and dust issue, and we'd like the council to really investigate what could be done about it. So thank you for your consideration tonight.
Thank you very much for coming in. Is there anyone who has a question? I'm looking on the screen. Councillor Dawes.
Now, you were saying it was affecting... Oh, now I've got it.
No, you're right.
Okay. Thank you, Glenn and Jeff. You were saying it was affecting your amenity. I want to talk about over time, all right? So you've lived there, I guess, 20 years or more. Is this what's happening to you? Is that more of a recent thing, or has it just been increasing over that period of time to cause the issues of today?
From my point of view, yeah, I am just a touch over 20 years. There's always been traffic on that road. It's not a lightly trafficked road. That's fair enough. But and it probably was just steady for many years, just fairly steady at whatever the number was. I don't know, but certainly over the last 5 years, it has ramped up quite considerably. To the point where, and from an amenity point of view, I guess, you know, we've only got a footpath on one side of half of that road, and we have to cross the road to get to the footpath. So, and it's very narrow, and we're on the side. The lane nearest to us is the downhill run, so you have to be reasonably wary when you come out and you're going to go across the road or even go next door. To just make sure there's nobody coming down that road, because they do come down pretty quick.
Mike, I would say specifically there are 2 events which in my comments I alluded to. One is the opening by Boral of a new gate at the southern end of Penfold Road up in Heatherbank. That gate, tradespeople, other people are shooting up the road to go there as well as through Heatherbank, I would presume. And the lowering of speed in Hallett Road from 60 to 50 has been a remarkable difference. That's been very, very significant difference. An unintended consequence, I would say.
Thank you, Councillor Turnbull.
Thank you for coming in. What would you say would be the most effective solution? You've already mentioned one, but what would be the most effective? This could be a duo.
This could be what?
A duet.
Oh, we're neighbours, but no. Look, from the point of view of saying what is the most effective way to resolve this problem would be to close Penfold Road at Stonyfield Road.
Which was not all that long ago. Well, it was actually, because the person who built the house said when they had the house that we occupy now, there was no road down to Stonyfield Road.
We'd be more than happy. We can get out of Stonyfield. We don't have to go down the hill to Stonyfield Road. We can go down Allendale or Heatherbank or whatever to get out. But as I say, most of the traffic, from my point of view, is through traffic. It doesn't belong in that area, and it should go somewhere else. So the best way to stop it from doing that would be to block the road.
What would be the second most effective?
I think to address that intersection, that junction. We should have mentioned too that it has got a crash history, and there was in fact a crash there probably about 2 months ago, Jeff.
When a car coming up Stonyfield Road failed to stop, and another car coming out of not Boral's property, but coming, or could have been coming out, it assumed the car would stop, and the one coming just knocked it and spun both cars around. And fortunately, I heard it. I raced outside and immediately rang the Boral manager and said, "Stop, the truck's coming. They can't get through. There are 2 vehicles across the road." And the emergency services were there very promptly, were there for a couple of hours, clear everything away, including sweeping up the broken glass, which was terrific.
Thank you.
But the roundabout, or a form of roundabout, but I think looking as I've done a couple of times over the weekend, looking at the central verge on the quarry side of Penfold Road, if that can be moved back slightly so the trucks can come around more easily and not have to brake. The resident of one of those 2 houses said to me he sometimes stands up with his mobile phone as if he's videoing, and if they take their foot off the exhaust brake and put their manual brake on, and I think they don't realise they're doing it, because it's a habit, just go around it. You're not supposed to use those sort of brakes, but it's a habit. They're coming down quickly from that hill, they've got to slow down pretty quickly. And I say to change that so there can be some curve there that can slow them down automatically. When they take off, they've also got good vision going out. So I would see that as part of the road design.
Thank you. Councillor Cornish.
Thank you for those comments. I was pretty much going to ask what Councillor Turnbull asked you as your second question, because obviously closing roads down in a bushfire zone is not something that you'd want to really sort of do. And on Heatherbank, if you remember, we did put a slow point, which we received quite a lot of feedback from the local community, and they were very worried about those potential bushfire, and we had to pull that out. So, so obviously the slow points are not something that would be, also ideal in that situation. So it is the roundabout is what you guys are angling for the most, or?
Well, I think we'd be quite happy to hear what
what the report would come back and say.
Yep. We don't want to preempt anything, and other ideas could come through. I have seen, just your point about for access, I have seen closed roads with gated emergency access tracks around them. So that sort of point it can be overcome.
But it also could be a surface such as a paving surface, so when you're coming down, you realise that there's something quite different there, and that would cause most people to slow down, most drivers to slow down. I think it's some sort of paving. Also the use of, I've seen in a few intersections of red tar being used as an approach, 50 metres alongside. That could also be done at the top of Hallett Road, also in Greenhill Road, because there's an issue there at the moment. That design's not working out. So there are some things like that.
Thank you. Cheers.
Councillor Hallett.
Thank you. On the southern end of Penfold Road, you're not allowed, the trucks aren't allowed to go on the southern part of it?
There is a no truck sign,
yep,
with a truck with a line through it. I'm not sure. I think that the trucks from the quarry there's nowhere for them to go, but other trucks do go up and down Penfold Road. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, so the quarry trucks aren't on the southern end of Penfold, but other trucks are.
Not.
No, they're on Stonyfell, which is sort of down the hill from across an open space.
Yep. Yeah, I used to live at Stonyfell.
Yeah.
Near Michael Perry Park, so I'm familiar with it. It was pretty quiet in my day. I used to walk the dog up Penfold Road, yeah.
No, we used to have a lot of people walking up and down. It was a walking track, but things changed.
Can I ask one more? Do you think that the increase in traffic is related at all to an increase in housing in the area?
I don't think it's related to housing in Stonyfield, because it hasn't changed. Stonyfields is a very tightly bounded suburb, so I don't think there's maybe a little bit of infill, but it's minor. I think a lot of the through traffic is generated because of the development further north, say the top end of McGill, that area there, and anybody that wants to go from that sort of zone, north and northeast, is going to come down to Kensington Road and then down to Hallett Road or Glenburn, depending on where they're going.
Yeah.
But we present a very convenient alternative to having to go through traffic lights and so forth.
Yep.
And this is our problem, yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much indeed for coming in and doing your deputation. So if you just turn that microphone off, that would be great. No, don't apologise. All right, thank you very much. If you would like to take your seats in a normal place. And then Councillor Jones, I think you were going to suggest that you're happy for us to move directly to motions on notice?
No, I'm going to suggest that we don't.
Okay, all right. Well, it's up to the council to make a decision. Councillor Jones does not want to move this forward. Do I have a seconder, please?
Surely we follow the agenda.
Well, we've changed on many occasions before, and when we've heard a deputation, we've moved the agenda forward.
But the whole point of putting motions on notice at the back of the agenda.
This is not the time to have an argument about it. I've raised it. It's up to the council to decide, and we've done it many times before, and that's the only reason I've suggested it. Right. Now,
I'll move, Mayor.
well, we didn't get a seconder for that, so you're going to move? Yes. No, I'm just... Councillor Dawes, you're moving that we do move this forward.
Yes, thank you.
Do I have a seconder for this one? Councillor Turnbull?
No, second.
Right, seconding. Those in favour of moving it forward?
I want to speak against.
Do I have to allow him to speak? Yes, I have to allow you to speak.
The reason I object to this, colleagues, is because to avoid our meetings being clogged up with motions on notice that used to take hours before we got to the substantive business of the night, we moved motions on notice to the back of the meeting. And what people have found as an end run around our procedure is if you get some people to make a deputation, all of a sudden you can not have your motion at the end of the meeting, you can have it brought forward to the front of the meeting. And I don't think we should be doing that. There were very good reasons for moving motions on notice to the back of the meeting. We agreed that that's how our meeting procedures should run. We should stick with our meeting procedures. Otherwise, all that's going to happen is if you just want to get something forward, you'll arrange for someone to do a deputation and you get it moved to the front. It's a total abuse of the process, and we should stick to the process.
Right, now I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. We'll move forward now to item 13.1. And Councillor Dawes, you have the motion. You can speak.
Again, I'd wish to thank Glenn and Jeff for your deputations tonight. First point I'll make, we have a problem, Burnside. And it is in traffic. It's not just only in the Burnside ward. The Burnside ward is unique in this situation because it's bordered by Glenburn Road, which is a major dip road, which is basically a car park from Greenhill Road right through to McGill Road, which is in the Kensington Gardens ward. It's a long strip of road that rat runners are keen to avoid. There's one lane each way on Glenburn. There's no dedicated right-hand lanes or arrows at the two main intersections, being Kensington Road and the Parade. So what happens in this case is commuters take alternative routes, as our deputies mentioned tonight, along local roads. And this is a local road, Penfold Road South. And we had a previous discussion about Lockwood Road, exactly the same scenarios as we'll be talking about tonight. And we've already discussed that, and we have moved forward and actioned items there. Now, Penfold Road South, if you don't know, it's narrow, it's very steep, it's got gum trees within the road proper, and Borrell has a major administration site at the southern end. We have over 1,000 vehicles per weekday, has already been mentioned. Commercial vehicles are at 10%, which is an all-time high for a local road. From 2019 to 2022, and this is the most important fact that I should share with you, there was a 30% increase in traffic. A 30% increase in traffic. It's been a 15-month journey with the residents to try and find a solution, and several options are already appearing in the motion and notice for the consultant to review. Now, the staff's on side, and that's why we believe it's got a lot of legs. And as you also see that they can't do it themselves, they've asked for a consultant to come forward. And don't forget, we've got borrowed trucks coming down Stonyfield Road, turning right into Penfold Road South. So there's an additional issue there. Now, we believe this study will inform the development of the overall traffic plan for the city via the City Master Plan. It certainly will. And then my last point, simply the amount of through traffic does not belong in this area. It does not belong in this area. I seek your support.
I seek a seconder. Councillor Turnbull.
I'll reserve my right to speak, thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Councillor Jones.
I'm not going to be supporting this motion for two reasons you're not going to be surprised about. One is, yet again, we have total ad hocery of people bring up a problem and demand that it needs to be fixed. We have hundreds of traffic problems over the city, which is why we're trying to be strategic and to have a city master plan and to look at these problems holistically about how we can fix traffic. Because we're talking about, traffic has started driving down Penfold Road. Traffic started driving down Lockwood Road. Well, could that be related to the fact that we on an ad hoc basis decided to change the speed limit on Hallett Road? I wonder. We need to look at these things as a whole, not just look at these things as interested parties put them up, because we've all got traffic issues in our wards. I'm sure this is a problem, but we could all, I'm sure, without too much trying, come up with 5 or 10 equally bad traffic problems in our wards. So I'm suggesting we need to look at this strategically, not through motions on notice. And we've got a basis to do that with our master plan. The second is, there's no budget for this. How are we going to find $10,000 to spend on this plan? It's not in the budget. We actually have a new budget coming up. The appropriate place for this, if you wanted to do it, would be a budget bid. But it's not just to say, let's just spend more money. Let's go into more debt. I'm sure we can all find worthy things that we'd like to spend ratepayers' money on. Except we can't go back to ratepayers, so we'd need to borrow money. And look, we had this at the last budget setting, where people wanted things they didn't get up, and then people try and sneak them back in outside of the process. It's an abusive process. We should say no, because it disadvantages all of us, except the people who come up with these sob stories about why their case is particularly different from everybody else's traffic problem. So I'm going to urge you to stand firm, even though you might, you're going to be painted out as a terrible person for saying, but we could just fix this problem. It's only $10,000 until the next person comes up with only their $10,000. We have to stick to a process, people, so please vote against this motion.
Councillor Hubel.
Thank you, Worship. Narmani, greet you all this evening. Look, this is the sort of thing that is creeping into common practice. And look, my feelings about it aren't as strong as my learned friend from Beaumont, but we have exactly the same sorts of problems happening, with people bypassing Green Hill Road and Portrush Road to get from the Feathers to the toll gate. They're cutting up Glenburn Road and they're zooming down Dashwood and along Sunnyside and down Gillies This is happening all over the city. And look, we do have a problem. But I'll take it back. This is the same problem that we had on Lockwood Road. And both of these problems are stemming from Hallett Road being reduced in speed, I believe. If you want to, you put fixed speed cameras everywhere, people will stay slowed down and they won't see back streets as a viable option. So if we keep going piecemeal about this, we are going to be spending a whole lot of effort, one little issue at a time, and that just doesn't make sense financially or procedurally or ethically or, equitably. So, I think this is cart before the horse, particularly the wording of this motion is assuming that the preliminary investigation finds that traffic calming is required. I think a preliminary investigation shouldn't go in biased like this, saying do a preliminary investigation to find out if there's a problem, and while you're at it, investigate these solutions. So I think the motion itself is not put forward quite right, but also this is a much bigger issue that I don't think we should be approaching in this manner.
Thank you. Councillor Davey.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a question. We've had some very interesting points raised. Through you to the CEO, where exactly are we at with the master plan, and if you could just remind us how this is being addressed within the master plan and a bit of the timeline? Thanks.
Through you, Mayor, if I can refer that to Mr. Cant to give us the update.
Through your worship, Council, through the City Master Plan, identified priority areas for precinct-wide traffic management considerations. The first two priority areas include Dulwich, Rose Park, Toorak Gardens, and also Eastwood and Glenunga. That process is out for tender at the moment, and we're about to go to consultation on it, and we expect to develop that early next year to present to Council towards the middle of the year. This area precinct isn't prioritised through the City Master Plan for another 3 or 4 years.
Councillor Cornish.
A question initially through you, Your Worship. Has this come as an investigation come through the previous budget process as a proposal? Was that one that was knocked back? If this is looking at bypassing that process?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'll just refer that to Mr. Cant.
Through your worship, to my recollection, I don't believe so, but I could be stood to be corrected, but I don't believe so.
Okay. Look, I am going to support the motion as it stands. I don't believe that it is limiting. It says inclusive of. It's giving nudges in the direction. It doesn't say only these. It says undertake a preliminary investigation inclusive of. I do understand that it will take 4 years-ish before maybe this area does get prioritised in terms of traffic management. And residents, I think, do have an opportunity to come to this chamber and request services of us. This is a democratic forum. They can raise their issues with us, and we have the obligation to either listen to them and try and act, or obviously come up with some other solution. I don't think $10,000 is out of the norm for an investigation of this magnitude. And if we hear back that some of the traffic issues and the accidents have been occurring at this spot, with big trucks coming from that Stonyfell quarry, I think it's our obligation to actually get something done at this spot, especially with the school just down the road as well. Like, it's a treacherous spot. And looking at some of the other cut-throughs that were discussed, a lot of them have a lot of roundabouts. Dashwood, Lockwood, Glenburn, there's lots of roundabouts up in that spot, so it does slow the traffic down, which is very different from this particular situation. And I think it warrants us to have a look at and get a report. So I will be supporting this motion because every resident does deserve to actually feel safe driving around their local suburb.
Councillor Jennings.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've got a bit of a biased view of Penfold Road. I generally see it at 7 o'clock in the morning coming home from Norton Summit, and it doesn't seem very busy. So this afternoon I went for a walk up there at school pickup time, and it's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of road. It's my friend and I, we refer to Penfold Road as the Thurkle Avenue of the north, with its big trees in the middle of the road there, and it's a fun road to pedal up. But no, I would be absolutely terrified if I had children that were walking to the schools nearby. And St Peter's Girls, I believe it is, and there was a lot of Burnside bulldozers as well travelling around there that would pretty much on par with the Borrell trucks. But as Councillor Hart, my eloquent councillor next to me, said, we can't really spend this money. But the safety of the children and the residents, I think, should be investigated. So I will be supporting this motion. Thank you.
Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to support the motion as well because this might be in the eastern area of our city. We in the west, in Eastwood, have been increasingly infested with rat runners. And it is important that we do investigate it. In so much saying, I thank Mr. Cant for his email of the 9th of November, highlighting the fact that we're doing a holistic precinct improvements designed and incorporating complementary to the traffic management plans. So there is going to be a study into traffic movement and safety to consider environmental, social and accessibility improvements too. So this comes into that category as far as I'm concerned, because people are the essence of our community. And so, having read the annual report and talking about community safety, accessibility, livability in our neighbourhoods and streetscapes, improving pedestrian access, etc., and places of interest. Well, one of the places of interest for me was page 72 of the Capital Project Report, and in here is the project code traffic calming program, and 247,000 was budgeted 22-23. 136, I take it, was actually spent, so there's a budget variance of $111,000. I think we can afford $10,000 to do this traffic calming and traffic investigation in this particular area, particularly seeing there's dust as well. We need to actually reduce the dust. Are they spraying the roads, etc.? No, I support the motion. Thank you.
Councillor Davey.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sorry, just Councillor Wilkins' microphone.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have another question, and we've heard some very eloquent rationalisations tonight. Part 2, funding from the current budget of $10,000. We do have quite a few of these requests. Is it possible, why do we have to have a consultant to do it? Do we have enough staff to do these sort of assessments and determinations and work out all these ideas and rationalisations without resorting to consultants?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I would love to say yes, however I don't. I've got essentially 2 staff in the traffic team who are at full capacity, just dealing with our day-to-day and our ongoing traffic issues. So unfortunately, I would have to recommend that we do go with a consultant should this get up. Thank you.
Councillor Turnbull, do you have a question or do you wish to speak?
Just wish to speak, thank
Right,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a nasty little road, steep road. It's got a tree stuck in the middle, right up the top, at the corner of Allendale and Penfold. The hoons love it because you can go whipping around there and go down and up, and it's real great fun. So it is nasty. We all have traffic problems in our wards, I agree with that, but we don't all have quarry trucks to contend with as well, whereas this road does. So that's one of the major things for me to consider, that we do need a traffic calming situation. And I think we've had several spendings of 10,000 on other aspects of our city of Burnside for traffic calming things. I remember one in McGill. So surely $10,000 is not too much to spend on something that really does need doing, because I live up there, so I know, and I'm not a hoon.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? If not, I shall go back to Councillor Dawes.
Right, I think the first thing I should say is it is not a sob story. It's an actual problem that we've got here. It is going to get worse. I've already mentioned to you that over the 3 years, 2019 to 2022, there's been a 30% increase in traffic. So something's not going quite right. Whether it's due to Hallett Road being 50 or whether because of the amount of rat running that's going on, I'm not sure. But I agree with Councillor Cornish, it's a treacherous spot. Go up there and have a ride on your bike like Councillor Jennings has done. Look, an important point for me, and I mentioned it in my first introductory speech, is the consultant's report will inform the overall traffic plan for the city. It actually will help us in determining what we should be doing, not only in our ward, but in other wards. Now, the staff is on side with this one, but in this case, safety is not on the side of the community. So again, or we again, seek your support. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Motion's carried. Division's been called, so I'll ask everyone to stand except for, unless Councillor Jones changes his mind, of course. So those in favour of everyone except Councillor Jones. So that's Hubel. I'm not sure how fast you can type. Hubel, Jennings, Wilkins, Davey, Zing, Cornish, Harvey, Hallett, Turnbull, Dawes. I think that's everyone, and the motion was carried. And sorry, against was Councillor Jones. And the motion was carried. Thank you. Now we will revert to the original agenda, and I will call out the items. If I do not hear a response, or see a response, I will seek a mover. So the first one is leave of absence, Councillor Henschke. All right, seek a mover. Councillor Cornish, thank you. Seconded, Councillor Hallett. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen. 11.2, Greater Adelaide Regional Plan Discussion Paper. Councillor Cornish, you're moving, or do you wish to withdraw?
I'll move.
You're moving it. The seconder, please. Seconded, Councillor Turnbull. All those in favour? Against? Carried. We've got our microphones off here. The next one is a report on financial results. 11.3. I seek a mover. Councillor Cornish. Seconder. Councillor Dawes. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Annual report. 11.4. Seek a mover. Councillor Hubel. Seconder. Councillor Zing. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Policy review. Community Engagement and Communication Policy. I seek a mover. Councillor Cornish. Seconder, Councillor Hubel. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Regional Public Health and Wellbeing Plan. I seek a mover. Councillor Cornish. Seconder, Councillor Dawes. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Policy review dealing with disruptive behaviours and council member policies. Councillor Davey, you wish to withdraw it?
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Council appointments we have to do. Council meeting schedule. I'll go to 11.9. Seek a mover. Councillor Davey? Or are you wishing to withdraw?
Withdrawing it, thank you.
Appointment of the independent chairperson to East Waste. Seek a mover. Councillor Cornish, seconded by Councillor Dawes. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Hanson Reserve Biodiversity Site. Seek a mover. Councillor Cornish, seconded by Councillor Hubel. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Right, now we move back to item 11.7, page 377, dealing with disruptive behaviours in council members' policies. And Councillor Davey has her name on the screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I've just got an amended, slightly amended motion. Which is as follows. That Council 1 rescinds the elected member leave of absence policy, the elected members policy and the ward forum policy. 2, adopts the revised dealing with disruptive behaviours policy as presented as attachment 1. And 3, adopts the revised council member policy as presented in attachment 2 with the following amendment at 6.2.5 to read: all leave of absence applications for council consideration be made available by the CEO to council members for their consideration, whether in public or for confidential consideration. It's at the absolute discretion of the council to approve or refuse the leave of absence request after being provided with all the relevant information. So in speaking to that, I thank the staff for the rationalisation of the 3 policies together. We had some long and detailed policies and they've very skillfully revised them and edited them and represented them. The dealing with disruptive behaviours policy is pretty straightforward. The council member policy I think needed some clarification about the leave of absence applications. It's a very important legal position to actually grant leave of absence for permission for absence from meetings for a period of time, whether it's for personal reasons, health reasons, annual leave or whatever. I think it's reasonable for us as the decision makers who have to decide on this that we actually are privy to the application for this leave. So it doesn't necessarily have to be made public, and I think there's good security reasons for that, but I think we should be able to see it, and if an elected member chooses to put in an application, that it's then we can cite it and make sure that we then agree with it before we vote on it. So that's the only reason for this slight refinement. I hope you'll support this. Thank you.
I seek a seconder. Councillor Harvey, do you wish to speak?
No, I reserve my right, thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Turnbull.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move an amendment 2 for that one. That council adopts the council member policy as presented in attachment 2 with a change to clause 671 from robes will be worn by council members on ceremonial occasions only to robes may be worn by council members on ceremonial occasions only. Minor point, but I'd like to make it.
What point is it?
The only time currently, and for the sake of the newer members, the only time that robes are worn in all of my years of being on council have been on the occasion of our signing in or swearing in ceremony. At no other time is an elected member required to wear one. It's not legislated. Okay, we've got an answer on this first.
Through Madam Mayor, it could be treated either way. It's quite a minor change, I feel, the word may. With the permission of the mover or seconder, you could ask them if they're willing to include that in their motion, or if that's not the case, then you would have to move it as an amendment.
Right, Councillor Davey is willing to. Councillor Harvey, are you willing to include it? Right, thank you. Right, Councillor Hubel, then that's included in the motion. Councillor Hubel, you wish to speak?
Thank you, Worship. A question at this point. I recall at a certain point that in our minutes when we had a leave of absence, the papers actually did include a copy of the request. Is there any commentary through you as Chair, Your Worship, the CEO might be able to make about whether that was there was a mindful change of practice, or... Yeah, thanks.
Through Madam Mayor, from my recollection, the requests that were included were fairly vague in nature and simply asked for a leave of absence without much specifying what the activity the individual was undertaking. We do have to bear in mind here that some people are trying to protect their own privacy, and I think that's perhaps why we may have not included all of them in the past, but some of them.
Councillor Dawn.
Yeah, could I just have two questions, one along the line of Councillor Hubel. Say a medical certificate is a reason for a leave of absence. Does this, I probably need to get adjudication here, does this mean that that would also have to be shared with us, a medical certificate?
That's what the motion says, though.
Yeah, through Madam Mayor, just to answer that question. I think council members have a right to respect their own privacy in this matter.
Councillor Dawes?
Yes, my second question.
Second question.
Second question. 6.7.1, which refers to the robes, and it talks about council members, and I just thought, what does council members mean? It does mean the mayor as well. So I just want to make sure that I have got that right. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor Turnbull?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to talk about the one about the robes, because the word, it's really just may and will. Will is a very strong word. For some reason, the wearing of the heritage old mothball-smelling robes with the John Martin's label is to me an anachronism. It's more like a fancy dress parade. I realise that some councils like to wear the robes, so the word may covers those who do, but there's also those who don't. If we want younger people to come and engage in local government, we need to modernise our structures. One way would be to ditch the robes, the rabbit fur and all, and opt for sensible corporate wear and give councillors a choice. Actually, I like to remove 6.7 completely, but I'll settle for may instead of will. Thank you.
Councillor Cornish?
Thank you, Worship. I'm just trying to get my head around this whole leave of absence component. So the policy is regarding, like, unable to attend 2 or more consecutive meetings. However, I've submitted a leave of absence which I'm hoping I won't miss a council meeting, but I will not be contactable by my residents. And I actually used this resolution in my response email saying that per council resolution, blah, 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 I'm currently unavailable. Please contact Burnside at burnside.sa.gov.au. Given the policy says 2 or more, would that require me not to have put in and I just be out of the country and not answer any of my residents and ratepayer inquiries for that period of time? Or can I put an out of office on my email and say I'm not available? I'm just trying to work out how this actually works with the leave of absence and mean, I'm using it as the fact of not being able to be contacted by my residents rather than worrying too much about council meetings. Does that sort of make sense?
Through you, Madam Mayor, you certainly could take that approach if you chose to, i.e. not put in a leave of absence if you felt you weren't going to miss council meetings. But the reason the leave of absence is there primarily, as you've alluded to, is to cover off on this missing 3 meetings in a row, potentially.
Since the screen is free at the moment, can I just ask a question, please? My question is, if this goes ahead and it becomes policy, how long does this policy last, please?
Through Madam Mayor, it lasts till we revise it again.
Till we revise it again. So the new council would not have a chance to revise it prior to election, unless this council chose to revise it before that.
That's correct.
I'm just thinking about the question of the may wear a gown, whether we're actually locking people in one way or another for the next council. That's all. That's my question.
When the new council would come in, they have an opportunity to review policy, but until that point, they would be locked into this policy.
Right. Councillor Cornish.
Sorry, another question regarding leave of absence area. I do apologise about that. In reference to, I can understand we haven't publicly made the requests printed in the agenda for some time, but they could still be just as vague going forward, can they not? In terms of I seek a leave of absence between these 2 dates because of personal reasons?
Through you, Madam Mayor, council members can choose what level of detail they wish to advise me. Absolutely, or council, should I say.
Councillor Daw.
Yes, I'm at a quandary here. I'm happy with robes maybe one. I understand what Councillor Turnbull's saying. I am about the leave of absence issue. I'm uncertain about that one because, if you're going on a holiday or something like that or whatever, I have no issue. But when it's something personal, it might be a medical certificate or medical reasons or family reasons or whatever. I think it's too broad, number 3. So I'll have to vote against the motion, though I would be supportive of the one about paragraph 6.7.1.
Councillor Howe.
I agree with Councillor Dawes. I don't have any problem with with the majority of the recommendation, the revised recommendations, except for the 3, and I think that's intrusive and it's not something like if you're employed, you might ask for leave and you might talk to your manager about that, but you don't tell your whole team and you don't have to go to the team and say, I would like to take leave. So I think that I can't agree with 3, but I do agree with the rest.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Councillor Wilkin.
Yes, I will speak. I think it's important that we do protect people's privacy, whether it's a personal matter or a medical matter. I think it's important that people do have the opportunity. I'm looking at 6.23, 6.24, and it's 6.25. I mean, you can apologise for not being able to attend 1 meeting or 2 meetings, but it's the legal protection of actually requesting leave of absence that might be important to some people. And as for the robes, well, I don't mind a bit of ceremony, quite frankly. It's better than T-shirts and tracky dacks, let's face it. And I think we just take the robes out and give them an airing every now and again, quite frankly. And you look at the City of London and the mayor in the City of London, formal robes, wow, they are formal. So, no, I think we should. And if may or will, it's up to the person to decide, but that person is representing the whole of the City of Burnside. It's not just your personal decision, you are representing the whole. And I think you have to respect that and respect the tradition that goes with wearing the robes. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? I have a blank screen. All right, last chance. Councillor Jennings.
Not about robes, Madam Mayor, but page 391, 6.213, participants appearing to be under the influence of alcohol or drug use. I think that should be changed to and illicit put in front of the word drug.
Okay. Which page is that?
Could you just repeat that, please, Councillor Jennings, just in case everyone didn't get it?
Sure. It states at 6.213 participants.
Page reference again, sorry.
Page reference 391. Participants appearing to be under the influence of alcohol or drug use. I think that should be changed to participants appearing to be under the influence of alcohol and or illicit drug use.
Just getting a check, because this may be not require an amendment as such, okay?
Through Madam Mayor, given that it still aligns with the intent of the policy, I'm happy to treat that under the slip rule, and I'll take care of that administratively.
All right, thank you.
Follow that? Okay. Councillor Hubel, you wish to speak?
Yeah, a question just based on Councillor Jennings' points about 6.2.13. In the officer's report at point 7 on page 378 of the report, it seems that the word intoxicating has been removed from that clause. I'm just wondering whether that deletion may have, been the cause of, Councillor Jennings having to make this point. I'm just wondering whether there's any commentary we could be provided about the word intoxicating being deleted from that clause.
Just give me 2 minutes, Madam Mayor.
I would have understood what intoxication is. Alcohol is. Just getting used to it.
Through Madam Mayor, when we undertook a legal review of this, it would advise that that word was superfluous to the intent.
Now, Councillor Jones.
I got a few little issues with this motion that perhaps the Councillor Davey might address in her summing up. I can't for the life of me see what the issue is with leave of absences at the moment. I haven't really noticed any particular problem with people I think have been taking them when there was no valid reason. So I'd like to, if perhaps Councillor Dave could explore what she thinks the problem that needs to be solved is. Not sure I agree with Councillor Turnbull that we'll attract 18-year-olds by getting rid of robes worn once every 4 years. I think perhaps, council is enhanced by people having mature people with life experience, and I'm out of whack with our terrible state government on that, but what's not to be expected? Look, I think the tone of debate was actually better when people wore robes and stood up to address the council meeting. I think it adds some well, not je ne sais quoi, not you're confusing my French, it's a long time ago, people, but some gravitas to the meeting, rather than people lounging around in their chairs. And the only reason they took it away was when they brought in this queuing system. I think it would be enhanced if we wore robes and spoke and orated like Cicero. And I also think, because we're Burnside, that councillors should be called aldermen. That would significantly raise the tone of debate, I think, in Burnside if we were addressed as... yeah, that's right, we're Burnside, we should be aldermen. So that's my problems with this, this motion, so perhaps the proposer could address. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? If not, then I will go back to Councillor Davey.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for your input. Yes, I'm happy with the options for robes, because we rarely do wear them. The leave of absence is, I mean, it's only become an issue because we've just had a retrospective one, which was very unusual. We get them all the time. There's no problem with them. The elected member makes an application and just tells us what they need it for, and we grant it. It's actually a legal process to give you protection while you're away from council, your statutory responsibilities, for a certain period of time. Most of us put in an apology if we're not able to attend one meeting, but in all my 17 years on council, this has never been an issue. We are being asked to give permission to approve leave so that the penalties of the Act don't apply, and they're quite stringent. We as a council see considerable amounts of confidential information, which is circulated to us, not necessarily in our papers, but under separate cover, which we respect. And I think to support our decision making, this is necessary. And I think it's up to elected, and this flags, the intention of this was to put in the policy for councillors that it will be evaluated, perhaps, or just looked at why they want leave. And in totally reasonable way, we don't need to know all of the detail, and we don't need to know for security reasons why, where and when. I think the administrative issues associated with out of office and those aspects of our leave is something that can be dealt with separately, and I think that's a very individual thing. But this is just to make sure that everybody knows what the policy is, what's expected, and gives everyone some guidelines. So as we've already been told, or we know, councillors can simply make an apology for a council meeting, and either by themselves or have a colleague do it. I mean, that's all acceptable. The absence of leave policy takes effect for longer absences, and I believe that under Section 61 of the Local Government Act, we should be fully appraised of that if we're making that approval and giving that permission. I think it's very rare that we've actually had to invoke the provisions of someone who hasn't turned up to council, but that could be an issue, and I think we just need to have a policy, have it all clear so that everybody knows what the rules are, and we work to them. So hopefully you'll support this. Thank you.
Those in favour? Those against? Right, the motion was carried. Right, now we'll move to... I hope that none of you ever have to reveal any medical issues, and I wonder when it will get challenged under the Privacy Act. Made. We move on, and it is now 11.9. Council appointments for the period of 1 January to 31st of December. Councillor Davey? No, sorry. Council meeting schedule, December 1 to 30th of November. So no, I was right, okay. 11.8. Council appointments for 1 January to 31st of December. That's page 426. Councillor Davey, you wish to move?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I just have a slight amendment to the motion which has gone through to the staff. And it's just to make it clearer to...
Can't believe it.
Oh, are we on... Oh, I beg your pardon.
11.8, sorry. Yep. To appoint 2 council members for the Audit and Risk Committee. So can we tackle 1.1 at one at a time? So we need Audit Committee and proxy. And with that, of course, is the reappointment of Ms Hinchy as the independent presiding member. So I'm seeking nominations for the Audit Committee. Councillor Zing.
Thank you, Mayor. Can I nominate Councillor Davey for the Audit and Risk Committee?
Do you wish to accept that nomination, Councillor Davey? Councillor Dawes.
I wish to nominate Councillor Jones.
Do you accept that, Councillor Jones? I would actually like to nominate myself. I believe it is the responsibility of the Mayor to be a part of that group. So there are 3. Are there any more nominations? Because we will all have to speak.
Councillor Cornish.
Councillor Cornish, do you wish to accept that nomination? Yep. Right. So we now have 4 nominations. Are there any further nominations? No. Then we will now have to proceed to a ballot, and it starts with people speaking on, and the order in which we will operate is going to be alphabetical. That's right. So Councillor Davey, you get to speak first. Sorry, Councillor Cornish, you speak to first. Sorry, I've got.
Thank you, Worship. Thank you, fellow councillors. Yes, I'll put my hand up again for this. I've done it for a couple of years. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. For this one, look, I hope you do support me. I'm on a couple of, I'm on the Audit and Risk Committee at the Eastern Health Authority. I have been here at the City of Burnside previously, and previously as the proxy member for the year gone by. And I think I can provide some value add to the committee. It's a good committee. I quite enjoy the actual other members, the times that I have had to come in and stand in. And I'd like to provide more service to the City of Burnside through that. So I hope you support my nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is Councillor Davey.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd be happy to be nominated to work on this committee. I believe that some fresh eyes on the committee membership would be beneficial. I have had considerable experience in the public sector, working on risk assessment and all of the risk objectives and the broader scope of the Risk and Audit Committee, which we've recently expanded. I think I would bring fresh eyes to the committee. I'm very interested in the work and the role it plays, and I think it's very important. So hopefully you'll support me. Thank you.
Councillor Jones.
Colleagues, thank you for nominating me. I sometimes feel I'm being at the risk of typecast as the chartered accountant. on the committee, but I guess what I do bring is the technical expertise in reviewing the accounting. Look, I am a chartered accountant of 30 years experience. I work as a CFO, so kind of the MAT equivalent in business. So I've come across from the other side of the desk, the accounting and risk and safety issues. So I can bring a perspective of seeing what the council staff are seeing, albeit from a private sector background. But I have I've worked in the public sector as well, so I think I can bring the expertise there. So look, we're down to only 2 council members on the audit committee, and which I think is unfortunate, but again, that's been mandated by the state government. So if you were going to have 2, I'd put my hand up as the technical person, because I don't think of the external members at the moment. Either of them have got that, they've got expertise in council, but doesn't exactly match what I've got. So that's my spiel, and thank you for considering me.
I'm going to nominate again because I feel that it's a really important role that the Mayor has in terms of overseeing and asking questions, and most importantly, listening to the questions that the independents and the advice that the independents actually have to offer during those meetings. I'm particularly focused over the last 4 years on risk, or 5 years on risk, and risk is something that we all have to take very seriously, and I've seen that committee work really, really hard with our staff to develop the risk policies, and we've had risk analysis meetings ourselves with workshops, and I believe that it is a very, very important role that the Mayor has on that audit and risk committee. So if you choose for that to happen, then I will represent you with all sincerity and conscientiousness. Now we have a ballot process to go through, and Mr. Cant is going to bring us some voting papers. And can you remind me, is it we put down 2 names, is it? It's 2 names. So you need to write down 2 names on the piece of paper once you receive it.
Okay. So just running through the first round of votes. Cornish, Monceau. Jones, Cornish. Jones, Monceau. Cornish, Jones. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. Councillor Davey, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Cornish, Councillor Davey. Councillor Cornish, Mayor Monceau. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. Councillor Jones, Mayor Monceau. So the two names to be included in the recommendation are Councillor Cornish and Councillor Jones.
Right, Councillor Jones and Councillor Cornish, or Councillor Cornish, Councillor Jones go into those positions. And proxy is, I believe, Councillor Davey. And I believe Councillor Davey is the third one. Yeah, I told you I'd be the last one. Great faith. Okay, Councillor Davey goes in as the proxy member, if you're willing to be the proxy.
Yes. We're just clarifying the rules, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
There may be a situation where the lowest drops out and we vote again.
That's what I thought was usually the case, but it doesn't matter. It does, because when there's only three. Okay. I'm out.
Just got a question. Could I just ask a question while we're on the Audit and Risk Committee? I just had a question about the recruitment of the independent member. Were we setting up a panel to...
Sorry?
Yeah. And when's that happening? Because I think I'm on it and I haven't heard anything about it.
Through Madam Mayor, I'll just refer that to Mr Spearman.
Through the Mayor, thank you for the question. Yes, I've got some draft documents that I'd like to send you probably later this week, where it's the draft advertisement to yourself and Councillor Jones, so you can have a look at that before we go out next week.
And just clarifying for the council members, with our process, the lowest amount of votes drops out, and then we re-vote based on the three that are left in. So still voting for two, and just for clarification, your three nominees, the left are Councillor Cornish, Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones.
Put down two names.
Two names, I need two names out of the three that are left.
I'm totally confused.
Sorry for the confusion. So the process, I got it wrong to start with. The process is that we've had a first round vote, and the person with the last amount of votes drops out, and then we re-vote based on the three people that are left, being Councillor Cornish, Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. It's just the process that's prescribed in our rules.
Because there could be a change in the order as a result of another vote.
We're going to put two names down.
Two names down.
Now reading out the second round of votes. Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Cornish, Councillor Jones. Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. Councillor Davey, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Cornish, Councillor Jones. Councillor Cornish, Councillor Davey. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. Councillor Davey, Councillor Jones. And the last one, Councillor Jones, Councillor Cornish. And the two names that will be inserted in the recommendation are Councillor Cornish and Councillor Jones. It depends how the council wants to proceed. Council could choose to appoint Councillor Davey as the proxy or go through a nomination process again. I'm in your hands, Madam Mayor.
I seek some indication from Councillor Wilkins.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move that Councillor Davey forms the vacancy for the proxy member for the Audit and Risk Committee, and congratulate Councillor Jones and Councillor Cornish for the previous two positions.
Do we need a seconder, or do we need a motion, or
I think. Sorry, Madam Mayor, I've just missed what was going on.
well, Councillor Wilkins has nominated Councillor Davey. I'm just asking, do we need a seconder, do we need to go through?
Unless I hear anyone speak now to the contrary, I think we put that in and then put the complete package to the vote.
That's all I wanted to know. For the Audit Committee. Sorry, I didn't do the microphone on. But.
So you can handle this two different ways, Madam Mayor. We could get our mover seconder and on that section before we move to the next section.
That would be a sensible way.
So
can I seek a mover to accept with those names filled in? So Councillor Dawes, you have moved. Councillor Wilkins, second. All those in favour of that first section? Those against? Carried. Thank you. Wait till the screen moves up. Right, now we deal with the council assessment panel, and it's a similar process. I'll call for nominations first. Those who are anyone who wishes to nominate themselves or to nominate someone else. Councillor Zing.
Could I nominate Councillor Dawes?
Councillor Dawes, do you accept the nomination? You do, thank you. Councillor Jennings.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Wilkins.
Councillor Wilkins, do you accept the nomination? Yes, I do. All right, thank you. Are there any further nominations? No? This is for CAP. For the actual member. No, I withdraw my nomination. Right. So we have one nomination only at this point in time. So if there are no others, then I will declare Councillor Dawes as the person for the member. And now I seek a nomination for the deputy member.
I nominate
Councillor
Dawes.
Okay, Councillor Dawes nominating Councillor Wilkins. I assume Councillor Jennings, you're going to do the same. Councillor Davey, do you wish to nominate someone else?
No, councillor Wilkins, I was.
Right, so, right, we have Councillor Wilkins as the only, at this stage, only nomination. So we'll put Councillor Wilkins' name in as the deputy member. Right, and then I shall put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried.
I'm happy to have moved that motion. You might need a
Sorry,
seconder.
yes, I did. Apologies. Thank you, Councillor Cornish. You moved the motion, and I need a seconder. Councillor Hubel is the seconder. And now I will put it to the vote. Those in favour, and I'll also get everyone voting this time. Thank you. And those against? No one. All right, thank you. And now we move to the responsible person panel. Appoints 4 council members to act as members of the responsible person panel where they have responsibility of managing a complaint. I seek nominations. Councillor Zing.
I nominate Councillor Cornish.
Councillor Cornish, you wish to accept that?
Yes, I do, and I'd like to nominate Councillor Dawes and Councillor Hubel.
Right. Councillor Dawes and Councillor Hubel, do you wish to both accept that? Right. And Councillor Wilkins, you are wishing to nominate someone?
Yes, I am.
We have 3 now. Sorry.
Harvey?
Councillor Jones, you accept the nomination?
I said
Oh,
Harvey.
sorry, Councillor Harvey.
Yes, we need a woman.
Right. Councillor Harvey, you wish to lead on it? Right. Councillor Wilkins, just turn your mic off then, please. That's okay. Are there any further nominations?
Would Councillor Wilkins like to be a part of the panel?
Thank you very much. Yes, I'll accept that nomination.
All right. So that gives us 4. Is that right? Yes. Are there any further nominations? Because we're looking for 4, weren't we? Right. No further nominations? Then I'll declare Councillors Cornish, well, I'll not declare, put them in the spaces there. Councillor Cornish, Dawes, Hubel and Wilkins. And now I seek a mover. Councillor Jennings, thank you, and Councillor Hallett, seconding. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Got any more on this? No, I don't. Okay, so we're moving back to 11.9, which is the council meeting schedule. Councillor Davey, you wanted to withdraw it.
We're steaming ahead. We're doing very well tonight. I have an slightly alternate recommendation. And this reads that council continues to meet on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of each month, except for the month of January and December each year. Meets on the 2nd Tuesday in December 2023, being Tuesday 12th of December 2023. Meets on the 4th Tuesday in January 2024, being Tuesday 23rd of January 2024, and meets on the 1st Tuesday of the month in December 2024, being Tuesday 10th of December 2024. It sounds very repetitive, but I think it needed to be. It's very good to clarify the meeting schedule for the year and to have it all set out in black and white. I think this is good governance, good planning, and to allow a good holiday break for everyone. I think we all really look forward to that 6-week break, both the elected body and the staff, between the last meeting in December and then the 6 weeks till the January the following year.
Yes?
The first Tuesday in December cannot possibly be the 10th of December.
We'll make a correction, why is it a point of order?
That's not a point of order.
The motion is factually wrong.
Well, it's only a matter of correcting the date.
Are you sure?
It's not a point of order, Councillor
How does
Jones.
adding 4 change what's already in 1?
Can I speak?
Can you intervene in this one? Councillor Davey, can you just clarify your attempt here, please?
I've just added at the paragraph 5 on page 427, all I've done is add a December 2024 meeting for the 10th of December 2024. I'm happy to be corrected if I've got the actual date wrong, but that's the second Tuesday in the month. And I thought it was really for good planning. I know we're doing this for the year from November. I thought just for good planning, certainty, good governance, that we have the last date for the meeting year next year being December. Because as is pointed out in the paragraph 6, Section 81 of the Local Government Act prescribes the requirements for establishing the frequency and timings of ordinary meetings of council. They must be held at, I mean, it's all there, and we just haven't got a meeting in the December. So that's all I was doing, is clarifying it. So I'm very happy to be corrected, so that we've got, the intent is that we have one meeting in January each year and one meeting in December each year, which accords to our requirements under the Local Government Act. So can someone correct me if I've got an incorrect date?
No, yeah, it is, 10th of December 24. It's the second Tuesday.
So have I made an error?
Yeah, through you, Madam Mayor. When the motion did come through, it did say first, but my team have corrected it now. I think your intent was the second.
First Tuesday is
Thank you.
the 3rd, the second is the 10th.
So this is accurate in terms of all the dates and everything. Thank you. Thank you. So hopefully it's just, I mean, it's a hard, not an easy thing to do, and the staff have done a great job putting the meeting schedule up. It's what we have to do every time this year, and at this time of the year, and I think just having that all written out gives us certainty for the next 12 months. So I hope you'll support this for everybody's sake, and for us to have a lovely 6-week break in over the festive season. Thank you.
Councillor Cornish, you're seconding?
I'm happy to second it. However, I ask for a variation in terms of the agenda item title to not reflect that it's from the 1st of December 2023 to the 30th of November 2024. And it should be the 31st of December 2024 that the coverage of the agenda item covers now. Is that possible?
I'm happy to accept that as a variation.
For the sake of... Through you, Madam Mayor, for the sake of the minutes, I will change the title to December 24.
We're public servants, we can't help ourselves.
Does anyone wish to speak on this? No, I've already got a seconder, Councillor Cornish. I'm just asking if anyone wishes to speak. There doesn't seem to be anyone on the screen, so Councillor David, do you wish to speak again? All right, then I'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried. I'm not aware of any urgent business presented to me, so I shall close the meeting at 8:39 p.m. And thank you for your attendance.